Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to Brilliant Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and today we have a really good friend of mine, Dr. Karen Perkins. She has so much wisdom to share, and she will be joining the broadcast shortly. I'm just going to give an official shout out to our show sponsors, Craig Shelley, Beverly Hills Luxury Watches and Fine Jewelry at craigshelley.com. We are streaming live on mspnewsglobal.com. We're also on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and we're also streaming live on the E360 TV network under Fresh Takes, going out to Apple TV, Fire TV, Android TV, Roku, and many more. So let's bring in our amazing guest, Dr. Karen Perkins. Hey, Karen, I'm really happy to have a conversation with you today, and I hope you're having a great day so far.
Absolutely phenomenal day. And I have to tell you, you are definitely, if I were to say my top 5 favorite people, you are right there.
Right back at you, Dr. Karen. Ditto. We have built such a great relationship over the last 12 months. We have really done lots of collaborations together, and I am lucky to call you a friend. So I really want to get to know you so that our audience understands you a lot more, Dr. Karen. So you help people with high performance mindset to really get to those next levels. You're a Kpi Authority, which you can explain that to everyone a little bit later. I want to go backwards a little bit, Dr. Karen. Can you share some of your background and past, the obstacles that you have faced that have led you to what you do today?
Oh, goodness. So many things to choose from. It's all about choices, and all of us face something at some time where we have a choice. Do I want to do this or do that? Do I want to go forward? Do I want to go backward? Do I want to stand still? Do I just want to take a different path? And I have had the opportunity that at the time didn't seem like an opportunity, but now that I look back, they've been life altering and for the better, even though the situations were really sad and unfortunate and not something I'd want to go through again. But the changes I was able to make in my life and the opportunity to share some of those stories with other people who may be facing the same things have altered other people's lives. And so, I'm always grateful for those opportunities, though I don't seek them. I don't go out looking for them, but they happen to every one of us. So
definitely. And I think that is so true, that we are always grateful for the lessons of those obstacles, Dr. Karen. But like you mentioned, we wouldn't want to go back and do them again. But when we're going through them, they're quite difficult challenges and they're hard to get through at first. But like you mentioned, that when you look back, you do realize that everything does happen for a reason, and that you learn and grow from those opportunities, and they are blessings. Do you agree with me there?
Absolutely, I agree. And, using you as an example, a fabulous example, you were bullied all through school and just had a really rough time. But from that experience, which I think no one should have to go through, you have become such a wonderful and brilliant and and delightful and loving human being that make everybody around you feel safe and secure and at peace and loved. And you may have turned out that way anyway, but from that experience, I believe in those that go through those things, that you're more in tuned to helping other people feel included and feel accepted and feel loved. Would you agree with that?
I do, and thank you for your kind words, Dr. Karen. I really appreciate it. And yes, I would never change my past. I wouldn't want to go through it again, like you mentioned, but it definitely shaped me into the person I am today: strong, resilient, good heart, caring, which sometimes people do try to take advantage of those qualities, but you should never change who you are. If you're a good person, you should keep those qualities, because you really do attract better opportunities in life when you're coming from a great place. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your business and what you do in business, Dr. Karen. In your own words, tell our audience what you do and how you support your clients.
Well, I have two distinct types of clientele, though people are people, so they're all the same. I do a lot of corporate consulting and coaching with executives, and also when they put in large scale project changes to the system. But usually when it's a large scale computer system, I'm the person that goes in and helps everybody feel good about the fact their life's going to suck for the next 2 years. So I help them go through that, dot all the I's, cross all the T's, but to really look forward to the changes that are coming instead of dreading them, and instead of being, just frightened. And the unknowing is very frightening. And so I help them find where they know they have control. And they do. We all have 100% control of our choices. And in my other life, I also do a lot of coaching and public speaking on our programming and accountability and the choices that we make. And my goal in life is to help people live their legacy now and not wait until they die to have a legacy. And that's what it's all about, is waking up every morning happy and excited and grateful for yet another day, and looking forward to the great things that get to come, even if some of the things going on at the time are not great. And you and I have faced those. In fact, we faced them recently. But overall, we get to choose if we're going to be happy or not. And I want to share a quote, and if we have time, I'd like to tell a story.
Of course.
Everybody who knows me knows I am a quote nut. I just love them. But I have a sister, Julie, who always says, "Your behavior does not impact my eternal salvation." Which, really, you think about it, you can do what you want, but it's the choices I make that determine who I will be. And you may make my life uncomfortable right now, but you don't determine who I'm going to be. And I really I love that. And, it goes back to Dr. Viktor Frankl, that was in the concentration camps, if I said that wrong, in the Nazi camps. And he was just tortured horribly. And he realized that there were two kinds of people in the camps. There were those that were miserable and sad and dying, and there were those that were laughing and sharing their bread and finding something to be happy about. And they were the ones that lived. And it wasn't that their health was different or that their torture was different. It's that they chose to not let that define who they were. And he went on, he says, the last of the human freedoms, they can make me bleed, they can, do horrible things to me, but they cannot control my mind. And he went on, his goal was to save millions of lives and help them learn that, and he did.
Amazing. And I love that quote as well, Dr. Karen. And what I'm taking from that, and it's a really, really important lesson to, it's difficult to do at first, but you have to watch how you react to circumstances, because things will push your buttons. The outside circumstances sometimes can really make you want to react in a negative way, but it's the way that we react that really does have an impact on the results that we're getting and the outer reality that we're creating as well. And you mentioned you do a lot of speaking, you're a coach, author, along with what the business that you do in corporations as well. Now, you've supported me with mindset, Dr. Karen, with NLP sessions. Just share a little bit about NLP and how it can support people with mindset, because it does have a great impact when you get sessions to really support your mindset. And do say what you wanted to say as well.
Yeah, NLP, neurological programming of choice. And, we have so much in there. And before I go into that, I want to first say, it's okay if you react poorly, as long as you identify it and you fix it.
Yes.
Because sometimes that knee-jerk reaction, we go back and go, oh, my life is over because I reacted poorly. No, it's not. You reacted poorly, so acknowledge it and move on. Just don't do it again.
True.
So I wanted to clarify that, because there are times where I look back and go, oh my goodness, did I really just do that?
Me too. We're all human.
Yes, we're all human. But NLP, for those that don't know, I am a certified hypnotherapist. And, NLP goes right along with that. But it comes down to our thought process. And as you had indicated earlier in the show, our thoughts literally, scientifically, medically, genetically changes our genetic makeup. Our very genes can change and will change because of our thoughts, and we can choose our thoughts. One of the things, emotional intelligence, is one of the first things that I started in with the NLP, and it comes down to, people say, I can't control my emotions. Okay, but you can control your thoughts, and your thoughts are what determine your emotions.
Yes.
And therefore, yes, you can control your emotions because you can control your thoughts. And if you're unhappy, ask yourself, what am I thinking? What am I doing? And stop doing it. If you're happy, ask yourself, what am I thinking? What am I doing? And keep doing it. It sounds simple, but it really is just that simple. It comes down to a choice. And all of us have that choice. And in fact, if I may I take several minutes and share my first real life lesson that I have many from before then, but the one that really was the first turning point where I realized I've got to be different so that my life can be different. Is that okay?
I'd love that. Yes, go ahead.
First, have you ever heard the jokes about Karens? The Karen jokes and how mean they are, and they're the lady everybody wants to smack because they're entitled and
a little bit, yes.
Yes. Well, the Karen jokes, they had the A-frame haircut. I had that haircut, honestly, and I was that Karen. Sadly, I've worked hard not to be that Karen anymore. But there was a time where it was like everything was, I looked for the negative. I didn't realize I did, but I looked for the negative. And my baby sister, just an awesome, wonderful girl. And anyone that's younger than me is a girl. So if you're 55, you are a child. But and I'm much older than that. But she chose to be happy. She had a lot of obstacles throughout her entire life. Many, 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 but she chose to be happy. And, you know, I would, and when I say we, I mean me, something would happen to her and I would just go, oh my gosh, it's so unfair. You're so picked on, blah, blah, blah. And she'd go, whoa, Karen, I choose to be happy. I may have a heavy heart. I may be in a situation I don't want to be in, but I choose to be happy. I don't have to like that, but I can be happy. Well, a little bit about Heather. All she wanted to do was grow up, get married, and have lots of children. Well, she grew up, got married just a couple of weeks out of high school, but she didn't have lots of children. She had no problem getting pregnant, but she had a hard time carrying the child to term. In the first 5 years of her marriage, she had 11 miscarriages. And she wanted babies more than anything. And I was so upset. You know, how can God and the universe, whomever else, do this to you? You're such a wonderful person. And this is so unfair. So, and she'd go, whoa. I choose to be happy. Yes, I want a child more than anything. Yes, I have a heavy heart, but I choose to be happy. And she spent those 5 years writing children's stories and songs and love letters to her friends and family and playing with everybody else's kids and studying her condition so that she could be more prepared to help other people with the same condition feel hope and feel like there was a reason. And again, every time it would happen, I would just, oh my gosh, you're so picked on, it's so unfair. And every time she'd just shake her head and say, Karen, I choose to be happy. Well, finally, she got pregnant with little Michael Ryan. Cutest baby you'll ever hope to see. And because of the complications with the pregnancy, she ends up in bed. Well, now I ended up in bed with my last pregnancy. And let me tell you, you are bored, you are lonely, you are uncomfortable, and by darn, those floors need vacuumed, and nobody can vacuum them as good as I can. And you're stuck in bed. And I just went, oh my gosh, you're going to be so bored and so miserable, and this is so awful, and I know how uncomfortable. And she went, whoa. She says, whining about the bed being uncomfortable is not going to make it more comfortable. Yeah, it's not. Either I get pillows and fluff them up, or I spend my time doing other things so I'm not focused on that. And so she's in bed and she's calling people and saying, hey, I'm in bed anyway. Can I look something up for you? What can I do for you? And she wasn't bored and lonely because people wanted to go visit her where they didn't meet. Go figure. So she wasn't bored and lonely. And, you know, she spent that time writing songs and books and love letters to her friends and family and just really being the happy person she chose to be. Well, finally she had Michael, but he was 1 month early to the due date. And because of the complications with the pregnancy and him being early, he ended up in the baby NICU, in the infant intensive care unit. And again, I just went, it is so unfair. You stayed in bed. You were nice. You were kind. You did everything, blah, blah. And she's like, I choose to be happy. She says, I choose to be happy and I choose to love Michael now, not when he gets better. I choose to love my son at this moment instead of whining about him being ill. So she played with him in the incubator, you know, her little hands in the glove. And she read him stories and books and wrote stories. And she went up to the geriatrics and read them stories. And because, you know, us old people like stories too. She wrote love letters to her friends and family and scrapbooking. Mark, she had 3 scrapbooks done the day before he turned 1 month old. My youngest is in his mid-30s, and I have not yet started his. What is wrong with that picture? So she had 3 done, 1 for my mom, 1 for her mother-in-law, and 1 for her and Michael. And again, she chose to be happy. And she was. And Michael got better. Everything was great. She got to take him home. And my parents were going up to where we lived because the VA hospital was there. My dad's health wasn't good. And so they had planned to come up when Michael was due to do all of his VA hospital visits. And then she was going to go home and spend the next several months with him so that my dad could really get to know Michael. And they were up at my brother's house, and Heather and her husband, Mick, and Michael, they get in the car and they're going up through the canyons to my brother's house, and they're so excited when a gal decided to pass on a blind curb and killed Heather and Michael instantly.
No.
I don't tell you this to shock you. I don't tell you this to disturb anybody. I tell you this because in her very, very limited short life, she lived a full life where people my age, people 10 years, 20 years, 30, 40 years older, have not lived as much life as she lived because she chose to be happy. It was her choice. And when that happened, my world fell apart. It really did, because she was my best friend. And we worked together, we played together, we shared secrets together. And her main goal in life, she would say, her motto was to leave a legacy of love, learning, and family values. Well, to this day, my children know how to love because they talk about Aunt Heather and how she loved and how she let other people know she loved them. And learning, I mean, everybody's constantly loving to learn as she did. And, family values. What's more valuable than letting people that you know that you love them, than sharing with them happiness, than encouraging them to have a better life? And this happened on a Sunday. The next day in the mailbox, the next day in the mailbox, I got a love letter from her. And knowing it was the last one I would get, I realized I hadn't taken time to write a love letter to anybody in years. I might say it in passing, I might call him and say it. But she took the time to make sure we knew it and that we had that tangible, I see it, that you love me. And it was such a beautiful moment, though it really made me cry. And, just all of the joy and the happiness through all of that horrible sorrow. And it's been well over 20 years. It's been 21 years. And yet my life is a much better place. And I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't feel her with me. And when I make decisions, I ask myself, am I making a choice to be happy? And am I making choices to help other people be happy instead of being the detriment in their life? And that's the kind of legacy I want to leave, but I want to live it now like she did. She lived her legacy. And because she lived her legacy, she got to enjoy her life, and everyone around her got to enjoy their lives. And I think that's important for all of us. And that changing your mindset comes down to making a conscious choice to choose what it is that you want. And money is wonderful. Being busy is wonderful. Yeah, I've got mascara running. Being busy is wonderful. But what is it that's truly important to you? What is your core value? And it's different for every one of us. What is your core value that helps you live first class? In first class, it might be sitting in the front of the airplane. It might be that Lamborghini, or it might be having time to make chocolate chip cookies with your grandkids, or spending time at a ball game, or sitting in a corner reading a good book. It could be anything. And you've got to know what that is, because so many of us are so busy working to to leave an inheritance that we stop living our legacies. And one of the things Heather taught me was, and she would say this often, an inheritance is what we leave for other people. A legacy is what we leave in other people.
I like that.
Yeah.
You have shared just such great lessons there for people. That really does share a lot of wisdom. And thank you for sharing such a moving story, Dr. Karen. And like you mentioned, we can choose to be happy. And that's from the thoughts that we put into our mind. And what you do with NLP does help us to do that a little bit quicker, because when we're doing it for ourselves, it takes a lot of repetition and focusing on gratitude, affirmations, visualization, which is great. But doing NLP also just helps us to go through that process a little bit quicker to get faster results. Now, Dr. Karen, we are coming up to a commercial break, so there's lots for us to still talk about, so stay with us. Thank you for joining us for part 1 of Brilliance Business TV. We're here with Dr. Karen. She has shared how choosing happiness is a choice. She has shared how obstacles are our greatest lesson to help us move forward. Join us after the commercial break for more. Welcome back to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and we are joined with Dr. Karen Perkins. Before the commercial break, she has shared how obstacles make us stronger and move into a better direction. She has shared her moving story about her friend that she lost, who shared the greatest life lesson, and that life lesson is we can choose to be happy. Dr. Karen, welcome back to Brilliance Business TV.
Thank you so very, very much.
So my next question for you, Dr. Karen, you talk about living your legacy. Tell us all, how can we all start to live our legacy? What steps do we need to take?
Well, the first thing is you need to call me. Actually, I do have, and it's, people laugh and they tell me I trick them into it, and I don't want to trick anybody, but it's the best way to learn what your core values are. First thing you must do, my computer, the battery was dying, so we're plugging it in. So as you see it move, that's why. There, it went on. Yay! Is you got to identify what your true core values are. And a lot of us think we know what they are, and we're wrong. I mean, we're flat out wrong. They're actually, we think that they're things that we valued when we were younger, or that we're supposed to value, or that's, you know, with the society expected of us. And we don't realize what our true core values are. And once you know what your core value is, now you can come up with your blueprint to live your life around that core value. Now you can still do the things you want to do and were doing before, but now you do it for a different purpose. And because you do it for a different purpose, you have better outcomes. And that's where the Kpi Authority comes from. That's key performance indicators or index, depending upon where you're at. But we perform better when we have a real purpose and we know just all the way through our soul that that is our purpose. And our purpose comes from knowing our core values. And once you do that, there is no stopping you. Yes, you may have things happen where you have a heavy heart, but now it's not just choosing to be happy, it's pursuing that happiness and not looking back. And I don't know if you've done this, but I've done it many times where I've looked and went, really, is this all there is? Because I worked really, really, really hard for something only to get there and go, it's not what I thought it was going to be. And a lot of that comes because we didn't put our core value first. So that's the first thing. And I tell people, you got to find your core value, but truthfully, it's something where you almost have to be tricked into doing it so that your subconscious mind, or do an NLP session, but so your subconscious mind lets go of all of those things that you expect and really gets down to what is deep in your soul.
Yes, and that is the key point there, letting go. So important, Dr. Karen. And we have talked about changing our thoughts. I want you to give us your top 3 tips. I'm putting you on the spot here. Top 3 tips to help us change our thoughts and gain optimal mindset to get high performance. So can you share your top 3?
Yes. Keep a gratitude journal. An attitude of gratitude will change everything.
Yes,
and
gratitude, important.
And you, with that, and I'm sorry I'm fiddling with this. I've got these new mic things, and this one doesn't like to stay in. The attitude of gratitude, which, that saying is so overworn, blah, blah, but it's so true. If you can come up with a minimum of 3, I say 10, every day of something you're grateful for, and make sure you don't repeat it in any given week, everything in your life will be better. So, gratitude journal. The second thing is going to be laughing. Laugh for 5 minutes a day, or smile for 20. Smiling for 20 is equivalent to laughing for 5. But laughing, truly, there are fundamentals behind laughing that changes your physical chemistry.
Yes.
In addition to helping you open your mind and to be more perceptive to the things that are good around you. And when you open your mind, better opportunities come. You can see 2 people with the exact same opportunity, and one sees it and one doesn't. And, happiness gives you those same endorphins that we feel when we're in love. And we've all either been or known somebody who's been in love. And if you ever noticed when somebody first falls in love, everything in their life is blissful, and
yes.
They get the free concert ticket, and this lucky thing happened and that lucky thing happened. Those lucky things are always there. We're just not focused on it. But when we're all happy and in love, we tend to notice them. And the more you notice them, that which we focus on expands. So you keep expanding. And so, again, gratitude journal, laugh or smile. And then the third one really is stop watching the news. And
yes.
it's sensationalized. They don't point out any of the good stuff. And they hit on all the bad stuff. And quite honestly, most of it is grossly exaggerated. I mean, trust me, if the world's going to come to an end, somebody will stop and tell you. And quite frankly, I don't think I want to know. I'd rather just have it happen than me be worried about it for
Yes.
months and weeks and years to come. So those are my top 3 hints and tips that I would suggest to people.
I love that, Dr. Karen. Gratitude is a big one. I normally do my gratitudes just as I'm falling to sleep. And when people may think, well, I haven't got much to be grateful of, I always say, you've got the air that you breathe, the shirt on your back, the fresh water, your pets, your family, the stars, the sun to look up at.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I always say the more you appreciate and have gratitude, more and more things come into your life to be grateful of. Also, you mentioned laughter and being in love. You do feel amazing when you're in love and everything just seems great. So getting those endorphins and switching off mainstream negative media. I love those 3 top tips. Now, you have a bestseller called Emotional Power. Tell us a little bit about this as well, Dr. Karen.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that funny? I forget about these things sometimes. Oh, yeah, I have that. I love, actually, that's my favorite of all books that I've worked on. And it's done from a different angle. And really, it's written the way I speak. So it's not like a textbook at all. And there's a lot of grammar mistakes. So it's written like I speak. And people who know me say, oh, I could just hear you saying that. A lot of true stories and examples. But really what it is it goes behind the logic, behind emotion, and the emotion behind logic, because you cannot have one without the other. And men and women alike love it, but do you know who praises it the most and has the most fun with it?
Tell us.
Corporate male executives. Corporate male executives. And the comments are always in the same line. And it's, thank you for giving me permission to have emotions. Because it's through having emotions, identifying those emotions, that gives us power that, well, it propels us forward. And every one of us feel a minimum of 10 emotions at any given second. And every choice we make in life really is an emotional based choice, even though there's logic behind all of that. And, people are like, no, yeah, why did you put on what you put on today? Well, I wanted to feel comfortable. I wanted to feel lovely. I wanted to feel handsome. Okay. Well, because it's, I couldn't go naked on air because, it doesn't meet the societal norms. Okay. So you wanted to feel comfortable with societal norms. You know what I'm saying? It all comes down to a choice.
Hear you.
A fun true story. Scientifically, there was a gentleman many years ago who had some issues, and they had to cut out his amygdala. Now, the amygdala, now I can get scientific on you. The amygdala is about the size of a pinhead right here in our brain, and all of our thoughts flow through the amygdala. The amygdala assigns it its emotion and physical reaction.
Yes.
Okay. So all of the thoughts go through that amygdala. And so they had to remove it. And the doctors were like, yes, he's not going to be emotional and he's going to make better choices because it's going to be all logical. And they found that the man basically had paralysis of analysis, and he couldn't make a choice. He could not get dressed in the morning because he couldn't choose which socks to wear. And they're like, I don't get it. But every choice we make has an emotional backing. And if our emotions come from our thoughts, as I said before, change your thoughts. And it's not easy. I'm not going to tell you it's like I can just turn them off, but be aware of it. And another great quote, I told you I love quotes. One of my greatest mentors was a boss, Robert Fillmore. And one of his daily affirmations was, I repel all negativeness of my own and of others. Every day he said that out loud at least 3 times with his other list of his daily affirmations. And he was a broker for real estate. It's back when I did real estate. And anybody who's angry and upset about a real estate deal goes to the broker and screams and yells. And the man chose to be happy, much like my sister. And it was interesting to watch because these hostile people would walk into his office, and within moments, he didn't even have to say anything. Within moments, you could just for them, because subconsciously and consciously, energetically, he was repelling their negativity. And it just, they're getting hit with their negativity, and it made them go, whoa, wait a minute, I need to stop this. And it was just fascinating. So can you change your thoughts? Yeah, with your daily affirmations. Yes, with your gratitude journal. Yes, if you're not feeling good, ask yourself, what am I thinking? Do I want to keep thinking this? Do I just need to let it go? You know, we have 2 choices in life. One is do something about it, and the other is let it go. And, you know, if you have a problem with a person, you communicate with them.
Yes,
or you let it go.
communication.
You know, you communicate, and either they're going to change or not change. So you communicate with them, and now you still have the same 2 choices. Am I going to do something about it, or am I going to let it go?
Yes.
But what happens is most of us take the third thing, which is not an option. And that third thing is we don't let it go. We don't do anything about it, and we whine. We repeat it, and we go over it and talk about it over and over and over and over and over, to a point where that's all we can think about.
Yes.
And whining is not an option. You either do something about it or you let it go. And I still get caught in that today. I still get caught in that, and I have to stop myself and go, do I want to allow this situation to control my thoughts? And
Yes.
And you've actually helped me with that a couple of times. You're like, okay, we're not going to go there again today. Like, you're right, not going to go there. But that doesn't mean you ignore that things are happening. You can't say, oh, my life is 100% perfect, because if your life's 100% perfect, you're a liar. You know, flat out,
And
you're
there's
a
no
liar.
room for improvement
Yeah.
either, Dr. Karen. You have just shared so many great pearls of wisdom that will really support people. Like you mentioned, when we're having all of those negative thoughts, if you keep on focusing on them, they just build up and build up. It's really important to acknowledge them and then switch those patterns, which obviously techniques like NLP, hypnosis are perfect for, and they've really helped me. You didn't mention, Dr. Karen, how can people get their hands on Emotional Power, your bestseller?
They can. Well, I just changed publishers. They might still be able to get it on Amazon. I'm changing publishers, so we are in between getting it back on there or not. So Amazon, if it's not there today, it will be in a couple of weeks. They can go to my website, and in the store, they can purchase it there. They can get my home study kit, that is an entire program around living first class that has it in it. And if they have financial problems and can't afford it, tell them to reach out to me, and I'll see that they get at least an electronic copy of it. And
well, they're listening
really
to you now, so they will definitely reach out to you. Now, Dr. Karen, we are coming up to the end of the show. Now, you offer a quiz on your website, which is
the animal within. Yeah.
Yes. What animal are you quiz? Tell us a little bit about that, Dr. Karen.
Most of our issues come from unmet expectations, and from really misunderstandings with other people or ourselves. Why did I do that? Why did they do that? And it comes down to knowing your core personality. And I mean, there are all kinds of things where there's 15 and 32 type of personalities. I've come down to four, the four basic personalities, and I do it in a very, very fun way. It's with animals, and it's very easy. And every time I've taken one of these exams, they take 20 minutes to 4 hours, and they ask the same question over and over again. So I love my exam because I tell you 99.9% of the time people are like, oh, if they're honest with their answers, it's like, yep, that's me, or yes, that's Mark, or yes, that's Sylvia. But 2 questions under 2 minutes, you will know your personality type, what it is that motivates you, what it is you do that may upset other people, and you can do the same with other people. And under 2 minutes, 2 questions, you're done. And the quiz on my website is one of those quizzes where you don't have to put in your phone number or email and worry about, all of the contact stuff. It's just there for you to take. If you want to get in touch with me, I know you will. And, my website is drkarenperkins.com. My email is as easy. It's Karen@drkarenperkins.com. So, email me anytime you want. And it's a fun quiz, because when you understand your personality and others, you understand why they annoy you, but better yet, you understand that you annoy them and exactly why. Because things that I think are perfectly honest, other people find offensive. And what offends me, other people think they're being kind. So it's a good thing to know those things.
So I would encourage everyone to take the What Animal Are You quiz. Go to www.drkarenperkins.com. Dr. Karen, I have really, really enjoyed having a conversation with you today. Thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. Again, you are marvelous. And everyone out there, I say this from the bottom of my heart. I'm not paid to say it. I've not been coerced. It's the truth. If you want to work on your branding, if you want to work on having a better life, you need to contact Mark and work with Mark. He has got some of the most phenomenal programs, and I've participated in several of his campaigns, and he makes me a better person from knowing him. He really, really does. And I encourage all of you to reach out to Mark Stephen Pooler. I love his English accent. To reach out to Mark and make him part of your life on a regular basis, and have him work with you, because you will have a better life from working with him. And Mark, I just love you. Mwah.
I love you too, and thank you once again for your kind words and coming on and sharing so many pearls of wisdom. We will be chatting soon again and having conversations on phone, which I look forward to. Thank you, Dr. Karen. Thank you, everyone, for watching Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. Today, we have been joined by Dr. Karen Perkins. She has shared how obstacles make us stronger and are meant to happen so that we learn the lesson, so that we go into a better future. She has shared why we should choose to be happy, because it is a choice. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.